Happy Saturday, guys. We are here, of course, at Laurel Park. Welcome to Today at the Races. Keith, biggest price of the day wasn't anything too
No.
crazy. Started off the Rainbow Pick 6 with a $14.20 winner, and hashtag lucky for Rudy Sanchez, Salmon Louis Rivera Jr. Shook things up a little bit. I think within that for the Rainbow Pick 6, we have a carryover that we'll talk about and touch in a little bit. But right now, let's take a look at what we've got going on outside here on Saturday. No super cloudy skies, but no rain, no drizzle, nothing of what was going on yesterday, Keith.
No, no. And we held out okay with the track and everything like that. Breezy day today, a little chilly. But we'd love to have you out here for a little bit of a boost to our
Absolutely.
live handle. We always like that, introducing people to the racing game, get them gambling a little bit. We like that. But, yeah, yesterday, Cal, pretty formful day for the most part.
Yes.
Brittany Russell was on a roll with those maidens, right? 3 wins, just knocking them dead. Good girl, bad habits, probably the most impressive
One to
of
watch.
those. I mean, a 74 buyer just doing it kind of handily, got to the front easily and just kept on going from there. But I thought Devil Pays in Gold, another firster for Phil Capuano, kind of an overland trip, but very relentless run for that one to get up. Not quite the fig as Good Girl Bad Habits, but yeah, all in all, an okay day of racing. We were around it most of the way, and we'll see what Saturday brings us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll continue that action here on Saturday. Always some surprises, maybe some Saturday surprises here today. Starts with the early pick 5 here in race number 1, which is a maiden claiming 30,000. And Keith, let's go ahead and take a look at your top selection. Amity Road, back at Monmouth from the mid-turn to the wire, back on July 4th.
Cal, this looks like a little bit of an inflated maiden 30 in this first race. We got some horses moving up from the 12,000 variety, a couple Charlestown horses that are coming in. And Amity Road, to me, is just kind of faced the best company for the most part. I know he hasn't been out since July. It's some real kind of a sketchy work pattern, but his efforts against horses that have gone on and done okay. A good run here, up the inside, trying to gain some ground in that race 2 back July 4th, going back at Monmouth, but shifts out and comes on running just to beat a neck. Good effort. Deep Faith is run in those higher 60s. I think Deep Faith now is a 3-time winner. So with the speed to the inside, and they bring in the rider, Andy Hernandez, down. Just go ahead and kind of spy the speed from that outer post. And the outside was okay yesterday. We saw a couple horses, handle wide trips. So I think this one, even fresh, even a little sketchy pattern. We've seen this first time with this trainer win recently. That pattern, I think this one's okay. Shorter price. I don't love you. Bye-bye. That was a tough DQ last time. A little incident actually came in out of the gate, and it caused a little bit of a jam up. Recovered. Did it kind of easily. Was 3 wide in hand. Really didn't get Assel up or stretch. Bumps up, but this was really kind of a lateral move for the most part, save for Amity Road for the competition, right? So good effort there. I think can be tough right back. And here and no further, the one you've got on top took the worst of it in that race on February the 19th.
And that's exactly what I'm going off of, Keith. So there we go. Keith Fusel, 7635 there in race number 1, the first leg of the early pick 5. Let's talk about the first leg of the early pick 4 and the ticket that goes right along with it that Keith lays out for us today. Ooh, no singles today either today.
No. These cards we talked about, they were kind of, yesterday we didn't have any big prices. Still, they were competitive, and you had to kind of, it was hard to just narrow it down to one. Say for the first race, the Brittany, we thought that one, obviously, and he did not disappoint. Race 2, a little price play here with the 1 Fashionata, 1-2-4 to get you started, 2 deep in the 3rd to 3 in the 5. Haint Blue, I think it holds some value for Hammy Smith. Race 4, spread a little deeper here. 3, 4, 5, and 6, really tough to separate these horses. Spotted Bull will be a value play in there. Race 5 with the 1A and 2. Well, when you're going to the window, it's going to be the 1 and the 2. Need a marker and bossiness for a $24 early ticket.
There we go. Keith's got you started on early in the day, and it starts in this claiming 16,000 for the girls 4 years old and upwards, which have never won 2, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. Keith, you have the number 1, the rail horse on top a bit in your price today, Fashionata. Hugh McMahon, Javian Toledo, first in the barn. First start in the barn for Hugh McMahon today.
Yeah, a little trouble last time. Was off a little slow. Gunned up in there into okay internals on a heavier racetrack. caught my eye was the race going back before the layoff at Pimlico. Horse jumped to multiple conditions, goes in that starter, and ran really good against horses like Betcha by Golly. That Dares Gold. A little bit of a reach here. Barn change might wake
Sure,
up. This
that's
is a
okay.
barn that has not done a whole lot lately off the claim, but certainly capable. Rodriguez opts to go to Musical Cat. Maybe that's a negative as well, but just looking for a little bit of a price. Barzina, who's never passed the wire first here for Kieran, I think will be the favorite. She's going to be tactical in here. Drops out of a little bit tougher races. I think she'll be able to eye the speed of Sapphire Beauty and maybe Performance Anxiety. Even Fashion Out, we'll see if she sends, but this one should be well placed by mid-turn.
I agree with Barzina in that drop down as well. Let's. What's your viewpoint on Musical Cat for Ferris Allen,
Yeah.
which the one Jamie Rodriguez does go for? Kind of a little bit of the obvious go-to. I just see the cutback in distance being a little bit of a benefit with this one.
No doubt, she's 1 for 18, and she kind of just grinds it out. She's got the right kind of rider though, who can kind of get horses to level off to their best. That's the one thing I've picked up on this rider. He gets horses into their stride, into their rhythm, as good as anybody here. He really does that, and then he allows them to bring a finish, and he thinks out his race. So
there we go.
good combinations to have.
A price for Keith Fusel there in the second, 1-2-4-6. Race number 3 is a maiden claiming 30,000 for the maidens. 3 fillies, 3 years old, straight 3-year-olds, going a 1-turn mile on the dirt. Let's talk about your top selection. Haint Blue for Hammy Smith. J. Ron Barbosa gets the call, comes first off of the layoff after a while.
Hasn't been seen, was a turf race down at Colonial Downs. A little trouble at the break. Took some play in a decent-sized field. No real run. Bottom side turf. But when you look at the siblings, this horse is a fool to walk away Joe. Horse that's run quite well. He's made on about 200,000 on the dirt. Half the Performance Anxiety, who you're going to see in the race prior. So the dirt action, it's there. And I just think this is a sneaky kind of a price play. Hammy rolling right along with his runners. He and Barbosa teaming up at a good clip. Certainly can handle the routed ground. Tishan Tyrant, your top selection. Clearly the one to beat.
And let's take a look at Tishan Tyrant back on February 18th here at Laurel. Just going into this far turn right now. Gets a little tight.
Yeah, this is first time Lasix, and it definitely improved effort. Catching, a 4-wide move, goes up, kind of gets a short lead and battles. I tell you, good effort all in all. This is Voodoo Mama Juju, who had the perfect trip.
Yes.
Kind of spying that, the quartet, leaving the 5/16th, and just works out this trip. But Tishan Tyrant, really wasn't asked till this one. Juju comes up and rolls right up next to her, but she responds pretty well. Just couldn't quite get there the last eighth of a mile. Right back second, Lasix, turning back to the 1-turn mile. I think she's just going to be fine.
I agree with that, and especially with this filly, I like this. I like the setup. While she was a bit wide, and she had to do a little bit of not come from behind, but sit mid-pack stock, had to be patient, was forced to be patient because she was so wide. It's not like Xavier Price is going to take her back and get her behind horses to save ground at that point in the race. So with that, I really think that up-leveled her a little bit, especially coming into this field here
Yeah, and
today.
I think she'll have a little flow, Callie, with the outside horse adding the blinkers and the Lasix coming off of that 5.5 race. Hyde right away, the 7, I think is going to go ahead and go with Lewis. Even Irish Lace, whose horse bottom side was all turf long, Pagan Priestess, but does have a sibling that's one long on it. There goes First Claim bumping up. That's kind of maybe a little price user in there, but I'm going to key around the 5 probably is a price. Tishan Tyrant's going to be awfully short in there. Maybe go with some triple plays with those two.
There
top
we go.
and bottom.
Another play for Keith Fusel there in the third. Let's talk about the fourth race. Fourth race does start the Rainbow Pick 6. And as I mentioned, we do have a bit of a carryover from yesterday, getting that carryover board up.
Yeah.
That's going to take up to clearly 12 by the time we get to race number 4. I've got a ticket lined up. I had to find a single. I didn't want a single on my ticket. I could have made a really expensive ticket. Again, as you mentioned, tough card. Tough card today, tough card tomorrow. This was just super fun to try and get this one loaded up. So 3, 4, 6, my top selection being the Cairo Kid here in the first leg of this Rainbow Pick 4. Race number 5, 1, 2. My top selection being Need a Marker, as is yours as well. Race number 6, I go wide in that allowance optional, claiming 62.5. A couple of them are making the jump up, but plenty of talent within that race on its own. Race number 7, that maiden special weight, going 5.5. 1, 2, 2, 4, 5, the Brittany Russells and the Cal Lynch horses there. Race number 8 in that allowance optional claiming 40. I go 1 and 6 with Mitt Mosla being my top selection. Didn't want a single on the last. I did not at all because I have a bit of a value play underneath, but I do single in on the Jamie Ness Never Change there in the nightcap. A $48 ticket today, but again, this is it's a tough sequence for this Rainbow Pick 6 here today. But regardless, we're going to try and power through it a little bit. In this starter allowance, going 6 furlongs on the dirt for the 4-year-olds and up. Scratch in the number 1, Wild Behavior. Keith, you've got your eyes on the number 5, Spotted Bull.
Just, again, seeking out a little bit of a price here, and I do think you're going to get it. The Cairo Kid, Top Boss, Pit Stop Man, even and Spotted Bull, they know each other quite well. Pit Stop Man and Top Boss, 2 bang-up races, okay, but 6 days ago. These horses have run hard. They've run a lot. A little freshening might work to the advantage of the Cairo Kid, who's coming off a 43-day break and has been able to show that rating gear and finish. So I think this one sits a great trip. Just don't know if these 2 speeds. I think they do hook up. Will they both stay around? I'm not sure. We have a video of Pit Stop Man's most recent race, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this was good. I mean, really good on March the 5th. Lad Needs a Handler, an awfully quick horse. These 2 hooked up around the turn and just kept on going. Head victory for Pit Stop Man. So he's paired up 80 buyers, 4 races back in 81. He is in really good form, top form. But the 6-day break. Cash, we've seen it. He can do it. Top Boss, another one coming back, has paired up 78s. What's going to happen? Do they hold form? Do they drop off? I don't know if they're going to really go up. It'll be a little bit of a surprise to me. So I think Lurking Spotted Bull turning back, ran back quickly last time, was off a short rest trying to go a mile, got bounced around at the break and just kind of took him off of its game. The 2-back sprint, albeit a Nichols condition race, he's had a perfect trip off the duel and really looked good to the wire. I think he can come back to that effort today.
And I definitely see that just because, but just due to that fact, I'm still thinking we're going to, even off of just some slight spacing in between these races first coming back, I'm not going to be surprised if we see a little bit of a bounce, but regardless, this horse has been shown to be able, if you're going off of this horse off of the layoffs, he does perform well, so I do think he has enough time. But I'm just going to be a little bit cautious, but I like the faith in the 10-1 morning line in Spotted Bull because between those 3, the other 3, the Cairo Kid, Top Boss, and Pit Stop Man. With Pit Stop Man, I wanted to originally he was my top selection, and this is a move that Cash is strong at, and he's able to do it. We're not compounding on 6 days and 6 days and 6 days. This horse has had a little bit of a break from February into March, so it's allowable and reasonable off of this, but this horse has just been so consistent. I'm just waiting for the ball to drop a little bit, which is why I have him underneath.
Okay. All right. I mean, I think I'm going to lose a little bit of price with Spotted Bull with the scratch of the one. It was also going to enhance that pace down inside. We'll wait another day for Wild Behavior. But, yeah, maybe the Cairo Kid, just, maybe he's the one you can trust the most off of that little break. The form that he's carried here improved the last couple. We'll see.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Let's go ahead to race number 5 in that claiming 20,000 for the girl straight 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs here on the dirt. Scratch in the 1, Goldiness. Scratch in the 7, Ice Storming. You and I both land on Need a Marker for Jerry Robb, Xavier Perez, stepping up from the claiming 12-5 to the claiming 20 on the slop last time out in pretty good gritty fashion.
Yeah, it was a taxing trip I wrote down for that one. Down a little bit towards the inside and caught in between. You want to be a little further off the rail that day. We've got a scratch right of Goldiness and Ice Storming. So Need a Marker. You've got the other Robb horse that went to the front in debut off a little bit of a slow start, but that feel very suspect. Now, we'll see if Need a Marker wants to go ahead and go or just rate off of that one. Maybe that's the plans because I'm sure I'll have a talk with the X-Man and Rivera so they don't hook up in a duel and kill each other down the backstretch and around the turn. So I think the 2 might just take a tracking spot. Could go either way. I think this one comes back benefits off of that most recent. I mean, that was a really tough trip, and I think she's going to hang a little bit better today. I think the 1A is good. This horse comes back out of race. Larimore, it dropped out of that to win. But we know the form that Happy Clouds has been in for Farrier. I think this is one might bring your best closing punch from off the pace.
I was actually it was tough for me between Bossiness and Nita Marker because in my viewpoint, I'm looking at the post. She now attracts the rail with the scratch of the 1. So for me, I'm seeing Xavier Sender again.
Okay.
If just thinking about a little bit of his mentality, just as a rider in general, if he's on the rail or near the rail, he's going to go for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is exactly the type of trip she's going to get. Pretty much the exact same type of trip that she got last time out, but this time she has experience with it and she gets back to a fast track, which I think is going to be a little bit less taxing for her, especially in this field here today. Of course, we have a couple of drop downs, but I think today I'm taking a bit of a chance that she's up to the task because for me it was difficult to toss in between Bossiness and Nina Marker today.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, one thing you see a lot of times in situations like this, that horse on the inside, if she may be even a little bit truer, quicker, and I think she is head to head than this horse on the outside, you'll see, X-Men, he'll just kind of go get that position, and then he'll just kind of rate off and go around. I see that a lot of times too with these riders.
It really depends on the horse. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. It's going to give me a better idea of what he does with Nina Marker in the future if he keeps getting that position with her. So we'll find out there. Keith Fusel, 2A, 3, 6. I go to 1A, 6, 3. And before we get to the rest of the card, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
And they're off.
Welcome back, and we're going to get back to the action here in the 6 in this allowance optional claiming 62.5 going the 1-turn mile for the straight 3-year-olds. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's get back to that performance of Omo Data back on February 11th, leaving the 3 ace pole to nearing the wire for your top selection in this race, Keith.
Oh, Madonna made me look like an idiot, right? I'm telling you.
Made all of us.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
fine.
telling you. Boy, what an effort he brought to the table. After the 2 sprints went from 6 to 5.5, and then he stretches out. I'm thinking, well, we'll see if he can kind of just sustain that run off the sprints. Had trouble in both those first 2 starts, but man, just vaccination we saw yesterday. He ran pretty well against the Brittany horse from California. I think Omadata was a lot more impressive if you really want to compare things. This horse, bigger horse, looked like he was built to go ahead and make this stretch out.
Very
the
nice
Brittany
looking
didn't win
specimen.
like that
Yes.
yesterday. Okay, this guy, everything was put together. That was first time. Lasix, that might have been a key component as well. But again, turning back to the 1-turn mile, this horse ran well sprinting on the 1-turn. I think this horse will just settle somewhere in mid-pack. That was a good move right there, and we'll take him right back. I don't want to take a super short price. I think it's Viper as a horse you've got in the mix that could bounce back. A little trouble last time for Brittany Russell. The 2-back try in New York was good at the 1-turn mile, so I think you hold a little bit of value. This is like the race of the day that I really wanted to look at. You're dealing with 3-year-olds that see what kind of future these horses really have, and some of them have flashed some good ability. So good races, a tough race to line. Wouldn't surprise me if B West is the favorite in here. I know you've got this one picked on top, and I can't deny
We're
you.
splitting
Yeah,
hairs
he
here.
works.
It's a case in this field. It's a case of splitting hairs with some of these that have shown talent across this type of distance. Clearly, Omodata just untried. Just need to see.
Yep.
I want to see against.
winners.
I want to see it against winners. I think it's a tough ask against winners. Potentially. Depending. So I loved it. I'm totally fine with being proved wrong on Omadata if he wins again by 12.5 lengths. Very happy for the connections there. Interesting to see how B West gets with the blinkers. I think it's a little bit much needed, especially after what happened in the Miracle Wood. But I like to see the ability that he showed back in the Spectacular Bid from coming off of the pace a little bit, and especially returning to that 1-turn mile distance here.
Agreed. I think he's going to fall into a really good trip. He bounced upwards. Okay, the number went up in the Miracle with the two-back try. He had that hiccup early, had some dirt kick in his fields, just kind of lost action. But he faced the heavy heads, the last couple races. These quite aren't the heavy heads that he's seen. So
he's the heavy head technically in this race.
You're right. You're right. He's kind of the proven one here. So with those blinkers on to get that position, I think the mile's still no problem for him to get. I think he's going to enjoy a good trip here with X-Man.
We could go. Keith, I feel like we could go on with a couple of others all day long in this race. If you have anything in particular, I'm just gonna. I wrap up my picks with the Damon Deal DeVico, interesting off of the mud. But you go in with the one.
Yeah.
Eldest son, Jamie Ness, Axel, with Axel on this one, coming off of a couple of efforts at Turfway Park on the synthetic.
An okay number, 62. Okay, that was with the Lasix in Indiana. This is going to be first time Ness, though. First time gelding. Yes, Rodriguez, has gone another spot. Still, the way this barn's going, and you're going to give me 8, 10, 12 to 1, will be used in the exactas and tries, no doubt. Leonidas, very quick. Dueled a little bit early, moved away. We'll see if this one can stretch out. Was maybe saved by the wire because that was a Lacey firster. Lacey got that firster. He had a little bit of trouble. Came with a late rush, just missing. I think 7's 11 will be put into the race early as well. So I think the flow is going to be honest. Omadada and B West kind of lurking there somewhere mid-turn, top of the stretch. We'll see what's up. But a good race. It's Viper. I think can bounce back. Collection Days, not a horse that you can possibly throw in there.
Yep.
Really good race.
Very
in
excellent race that we have there in the 6. I'm looking very much forward to that. My personal highlight of the day today.
Exactly.
But let's go ahead. There are still some good races for the rest of this card that we're going to talk about, including this maiden special weight going 5.5 on the dirt for the straight 3-year-olds. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about El de Chirel for Juan Avila. Carlos Oliviero comes in. You got a stat, Keith.
Yeah, how about this? Pay attention. Avila, last 2 years on the dirt, 4 for 8 with today's owner. That's strong enough from 384. I think they even got a win up in New York not so long ago. You talk about well-bred and ready to go first out by Cantheros, a 14% stallion. Bottom side, Clay's Rocket, 4 for 12, topped at a 95. This horse is half to a multiple stakes horse. This horse is bred to go. Win early. I think I have 4 to 1 on the line. May even come in a little bit lower. Watch that money come in. This is the barn. It looks like they definitely take action no matter where they go. But I think this one's going to be ready to go. Maybe pull a little slight upset. Those workouts aren't anything glaring.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This act does travel here, Avila and Victoria's Ranch, no doubt.
Yeah, but 26% lately with the first-time starters, as you mentioned, 5 for 19 in the winner's circle and 7 for 19 going 1-2 for those first-time starters. So on top of that, we got the Keith Fusel stat. So pay attention right there. Let's talk about the four just to the outside. Assume nothing. Brittany Russell Toledo having 3 wins yesterday, almost 4. Let's see if they can continue that track. Really nice gutsy effort, rallying effort last time out.
Could be really flattered if Leonidas in the race prior runs big. No real excuse last time, though. Got position off the duel. Outfinished, definitely late. Closed some ground, but just, I thought expected a little bit more that last 1/8 of a mile. Maybe needed that first time over this racetrack. So short, going to take a slew of play. 9 to 5 on the line. Wouldn't be surprised if this horse a little bit lower. Box and Ben, a good debut against Heldish, who's come back. You know how Heldish came back and ran good after those races. So 3, 4, 1, 2 for me. New York Panther, the other Russell horse. But yeah, going back to that 3 horse, I think he's touched on it. 5 starters for this mare. 1, 1, 3. 1 win, 1 second, 3 thirds, right? They're all there first out.
There we go. Plenty to offer there in the 7th. The 7th hotly contested in being my second favorite of the day for the day today. Let's go ahead and start wrapping things up here for the Saturday's race card here in the 8th with this allowance optional claiming 40. Going 8 furlongs on the dirt for the 4-year-old girls. Scratch the 1A, Date Night Kisses. Scratch the 5, My Flicker. 2 big enough scratches here in this race. Keith, you have Acadian Girl on top for Mikey Girales. Jean Avello getting spaced out very, very well. A slight layoff since that last effort out, going 7 furlongs.
You see on the smaller sample, going back the last year or so, second off of this type of layoff, 45%, 11 horse sample, ROI at $3. I think Acadian Girl was just a little too tough of an ass. I think they knew they just wanted to get something out of a race, and they got it at the 7/8 of a mile. She's out to a more comfortable distance today. Heck, she's beaten Mitt Mazel before. We'll show Mitt Mazel, but she better bounce back into her top form because Mitt Mazel is in very good form right now, and I think gets aided by by the scratch of Date Night Kisses.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mitt Moslow, we're taking a look at that February 3rd race, just kind of leading up to things. But again, a filly in such tight form, just a jock taking a peek underneath him before he asks anything of Mitt Moslow.
Yeah, dealt with Blueberry Indigo early, had to repel a little bit of a challenge from that one. Again, that one was inside angled out, tried to rebid there at the 5/16. But yeah, Mitt Moslow's just cruising now of late. She's taking the rating, and the jock's not really even having to ask her to upper stretch, and she's been responding. So who's going to go with her now? I don't know. I mean, I think Acadian Girl has stayed close. She's beaten her before. She's going to have to kind of hound her a little bit because you don't want her to get away with things real easy. We've seen cashing big checks. Wisdom Speed hasn't shown it the last few. Well, will it show up here today with Rodriguez Furness? But count on
We'll
man
see.
Lapidus to bounce back here with Acadian Girl.
Absolutely. Let's see if she can do that. Certainly have the faith in that. And we'll wrap up with our nightcap of the day in this Claiming 10,000, which have never won 3, going a mile and 16th here on the dirt. You've got the 4, Only Child, 4. Joanne Schenkel, Thais Lai Piscino. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just too much of an ask off the claim last time. Tate did come back and were really big. Where Tate with that speed yesterday, I'm not used to seeing that. Yeah, it was a good effort for him. Tough beat right at the wire, though. But Only Child in a race here, dropping back to the 10. I think, if Looking for Justice doesn't bring that real speed that he's shown in the past.
Speed.
Yeah, I think Only Child can relax just outside or on the lead and go a long way. And here, certainly the horse to beat's going to be your top horse. Never change for Jamie Ness.
Jamie Rodriguez being able to get back on this one at this level. Same case scenario, just a little bit too late. Last time out, I thought just needs to be pushed along a little bit further up. That's what I would like to see. I think potentially that's what we're going to get here again today for Never Change.
Yeah, I think with this field, he should certainly get position and could be tracking perfectly. I expected a little bit more finish. Badger Tooth was just too good that day last time out.
Absolutely.
So 4-2-1-7 in the nightcap, just offering a little bit more better value on Only Child.
And we'll take a wrap with that for our paddock talk here. Not paddock talk, but pre-race talk today at the races here. And let's head on over to Lightning Round for a couple of talking points as per usual. Keith, no best bet today, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well, best
How
bet
could
is a
you?
value play. So we're looking for
there we
value
go.
play. So Spotted Bull will take a shot in a race where it looks like those 4 horses are the main 4 horses we talked about. Cairo Kid, Pit Stop Man, Spotted Bull, and Top Boss. They look like the logical horse. I know you had Muchacho Macho in there. May rally from the back of the pack. But Spotted Bull, I'm looking for him to revert back to the 2-back try. He had some issues going a mile and was run back too quickly, I thought. So he's been in range of these horses. Let's see if that last race of Pit Stop Man, Top Boss coming back quickly takes something out of those 2.
Absolutely. So exciting card that we have going on here for Saturday, and that continues tomorrow on Sunday as well. But before we left off, just wanted to make something aware. Entries are welcome now for the David Woods and Jerry Fruitkoff Preakness Media Awards, and it's presented annually to the writer of the best Preakness story from the previous year, and of course the Jerry Fruitkoff Photography Award presented to the photographer of the best Preakness picture from the previous year. So last year, 2022 recipients of these awards will be honored at the Alibi Breakfast on Thursday, May 18th at Pimlico. The Alibi Breakfast, which started in the late 1930s, features a gathering of media, owners, trainers, breeders, jockeys, and celebrities to celebrate the Preakness and solicit interesting and humorous race predictions. Along with the David F. Woods and Jerry Fruitkoff, the MJC will also recognize the recipient of the Old Hilltop Award, a tribute to selected media members who have covered thoroughbred racing in the past. So that is for Preakness 148. Entries must be submitted by Monday, April 13th, and be sure to get your submissions to david.joseph@marylandracing.com. And with that, we'll go to the other Dave, Dave Rodman, for some more changes and scratches.
All righty, good luck.